LiberalViewer presents.
So on the question of how the Republicans won over those white voters, the white working class voters especially, I think it is in some ways because Republicans kind of hid their principles. They ran a negative anti-Obama campaign. And I want to show a clip from Vermont Senator Bernie Sanders over on HBO's Real Time with Bill Maher last Friday. And here's a clip of him talking about how Republicans hid their principles, especially on, basic issues that are really important to working class people over in this clip.
But here's the interesting point. You talk about Republican principles. The Republicans forgot to tell the American people what their principles are. So let me make a prediction.
But it didn't matter.
That's right. So Bill, let me make a prediction, and a year from now, invite me back, we'll see if I'm right or wrong. This is exactly what they will do. The American people want to expand Social Security. What the Republicans will do is attempt to cut Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid and give huge tax breaks to the wealthy and large corporations. They will do exactly what the American people do not want them to do. You talked about raising the minimum wage.
Right.
They don't believe in that. They want to do away with the concept of the minimum wage so people will work for $5 or $4 an hour.
So I think that is true, that by running this anti-Obama campaign, the Republicans didn't have to run positively on much of anything. And so they got to hide some of their principles that aren't very helpful for the working class people that they overwhelmingly won, according to those numbers you saw before. And one of the interesting things about that is that it's not just the Republicans who didn't have a message, it was also the Democrats who didn't have a great message in this election. Like I said, they didn't stand up for their principles on immigration, and they didn't stand up for a lot of principles. And the person who I thought put it best was another person from Vermont, former Vermont Governor Howard Dean, who also led the Democratic Party for a while after his failed run for the presidency. And I thought he kind of described how the Democrats did not have principles to run on in this last election either over here.
You got to do the 50-state strategy again. The president has been brilliant at the 50-state strategy, but not so. The DNC hasn't been able to pull that back together again for a variety of reasons, not all having to do with the DNC. The biggest problem, Jim Clyburn was the most right person in that lead-up. It was message. Sure, it was an off year, and we can make all these excuses. Right. But the fact is, we have never been able to, and even through the days of the 50-state strategy and, taking over the House, the Senate, and the president in 4 years when I was running the DNC, I could never get the Washington Democrats to stay on message. The Republican message was, we're not Obama. No substance whatsoever. We're not Obama. What was the Democrats' message? Oh, well, we're really not either. You cannot win if you are afraid.
Yeah, I mean, is that?
It felt like it.
Yeah.
Where the hell is the Democratic Party? So, you got to stand for something if you want to win.
Dan Ball.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of amusing. I hope you enjoyed that clip of Howard Dean. That's one of my favorite comedic clips that doesn't come from a comedy show for the night, I guess. And I want to know what you think. Do you agree with Senator Bernie Sanders that Republicans hid their principles, and with Governor Howard Dean that Democrats feared their principles in the last election? And given the outcome of the election, will the clash between a fully Republican-led Congress and a second-term Democratic president highlight the different parties' principles going into the 2016 election?
I YouTube, you decide.